Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Niama and you can call me Nia. So I've been reading about this awesome book called the Quran. It's the book that we Muslim believe come directly from God. So everything in it, in the Arabic text, is exactly what God has revealed to Angel Gabriel that passed it on to the last prophet of God, Muhammad, peace be upon him. And everything else that is not in the Arabic text of the Quran that was revealed more than 1400 years ago, everything else is just a translation of the meaning of the Quran. So I'm at chapter 8 in the English translation of the meaning. That's Surah, meaning chapter, Al-Anfal. And in English it's translated by the spoils of war. War as in battlefield. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, which in Arabic is translated by in the name of God, Allah, most gracious, most merciful. They ask you about the bounties of war. Say, the decision concerning bounties is for God, Allah, and the Messenger. So fear God and amend that which is between you and obey God and His Messenger if you should be believers. All right, I want to stop and pause and explain. Every time in the Quran you see the sentence and fear God, it doesn't truly mean be scared of God in the sense like you have to be afraid of God and frightened by Him. It just means that you need to keep your duty to God by respecting God and doing as best as you can everything that God has asked you to do, has commanded you to do. This is what it means by fear God. Meaning you have so much respect for God that you know He's watching you. He knows everything you are doing. So you are just very careful with what you do and what you say. All right, verse 2. Let's continue. The believers are only those who, when Allah, God, is mentioned, their hearts become fearful, meaning their heart are in awe, A-W-E, of God, and when His verses are recited to them, it increases them in faith, meaning their faith just increases and get bigger and greater. And upon their Lord they depend on and rely. The ones who establish prayer, and from what we have provided them, they do spend. Those are the believers, truly. For them are degrees of high positions with their Lord and forgiveness and a noble provision. It is just as when your Lord brought you out of your home for the battle of Badr. In truth, while indeed a party among the believers were unwilling to go and fight for the cause of God, arguing with you concerning the truth about after it had become clear, as if they were being driven towards death while they were looking on. Remember, O believers, when God promised you one of the two troop groups that it would be yours, and you wished that the unarmed one would be yours. But Allah intended to establish the truth by His words and to eliminate the disbelievers, the infidel pagan Arabs of the time in Mecca back in the 7th century. That He should establish the truth and abolish falsehood, even if the criminal disliked it. Remember when you were asking help of your Lord, and He answered you, indeed, I will reinforce you with 1,000 from my angels, following one another. And God Allah made it not but good tidings, and so that your hearts would be reassured. And victory is not but from God Allah Himself. Indeed, God is exalted might and wise. Remember when He overwhelmed you with drowsiness, giving security from Him, and sent down upon you from the sky rain by which to purify you and remove from you the evil suggestions and whisperings of the devil, Satan, Shaitan, and to make steadfast your hearts and plant firmly thereby your feet while you're in the battlefield. Remember when your Lord inspires the angels. I am with you, so strengthen those who have believed. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieved. So strike them upon the necks and strike them from them every fingertip in the battlefield as they are attacking you. That is because they opposed God and his last messenger. And whoever opposes God and his messenger, indeed, God is very severe in punishment. That is yours, so taste it. And indeed, for the disbelievers, it's a punishment in the hellfire. O you who have believed, when you meet those who disbelieve, advance in the battlefield while you are in war, and do not turn your back. Do not fear them. And whoever turns his back to them on such a day in the battlefield during war, unless it is as a strategy for war or to enjoin another company, another group in your army, then that person has certainly returned his anger. He has returned with anger upon which from God, and his refuge is definitely the hellfire. And wretched is such a destination, an awful place to go. And you did not kill them, but it was God truly who killed them. And you threw not when you threw, but it was God who threw, that he might test the believers with a good test. Indeed, God is hearing and knowing. That is so, and also that Allah, God, will weaken the plot of the disbelievers, all those Arab infidel pagans that were fighting and attacking you in the battlefield. And you disbelievers seek this decision. The decision, defeat has come to you, and if you desist, it is best for you if you stop attacking the believers. But if you return to war and attack the believers, we will return, and never will you be availed by your large group company, even if it should increase, and that is because Allah is always with the believers. O you who have believed, obey God and obey his messenger, and do not turn from him while you hear his divine order. And do not be like those who say, we have heard, while they do not hear. Indeed, the worst of living creatures in the sight of God Almighty Allah are those who are deaf and dumb, who do not use reason and their intellect. Had God known any good inside their hearts, he would have made them hear. And if he had made them hear, they would still have turned away while they still refuse to listen to God. O you who have believed, respond to God and to the messenger when he calls you to that which will give you life, and know that God intervenes between a man and his heart, and that to him, God, you will all be gathered. And fear a test, a trial, which will not strike those who have wronged among you exclusively, and know that God is very, very severe in punishment. And remember when you were few and oppressed in the land, fearing that people might kidnap you, abduct you, but God sheltered you, supported you with his victory, and provided you with good things that you may be grateful. O you who have believed, do not betray God and his messenger, or betray your trust while you know the consequences of such betrayal. And know that your properties, everything that you have, your possessions and your children, all these are just a test from God, and that God has with him a great reward. And you who have believed, if you keep your duty to God, if you fear God, he will grant you a criterion and will remove from you every bad deeds that you have done, and he indeed will forgive you. And God is the possessor of great bounty. And remember, when those who disbelieved, they plotted and they planned against you to restrain you, and they also planned to kill you or to even kick you out of your city, Mecca. But they plan, but remember, God plans, and God is the best of planners. And when our verses are recited to them, they say, "We have heard." And if we willed, we could say something like this: "This is not but legends of the former people that came before us." And when they say, "Oh Allah, if this should be the truth from you, then rain down upon us stones from the sky, or bring us the painful torment and punishment that you have said will come to us." But Allah would not punish them while you are among them, and Allah will not punish them while they keep seeking forgiveness from Him. But why should Allah not punish them while they obstruct people from the big mosque and they were not fit to be its guardians? Its true guardians are not but only the righteous people, but most of them do not even know. And their prayer at the house over there in the Kaaba in Mecca was not except whistling and hand clapping. So taste the punishment for that you disbelieved in God. Indeed, those who disbelieve spend their wealth just to make people go far away and be misguided and stay away from God. So they will spend it. Then it will be for them a source of regret. Then they will be overcome. And those who have disbelieved, unto hellfire they will be gathered. It is so that God may distinguish the wicked from the good people and place the wicked people, some of them upon others, and heap them all together and put them into hellfire. It is those who are truly the losers. Say to those who have disbelieved that if they stop what they had previously occurred, it will be forgiven for them. But if they return and they become hostile against the believers, then the precedent of the former people has already taken place. And fight against them until there is no more fighting and no more oppression and injustice in the land, until worship for the sake of God. All of it is for God, Allah. And if they stop, then indeed Allah is seer of everything that they do. But if they turn away, then know that God, Allah, is your protector. Excellent is He as a protector, and excellent is He as your helper. And know that anything you obtain of war booty, spoils of war, then indeed for God is 1/5 of it, and for the messenger, and for his near relatives, and the orphans, of course, and the needy, and the stranded travelers. If you have believed in Allah and in that which we sent down to our servant slave Muhammad on the day of the criterium, the day when the two armies met at Badr, and God over all things is competent. Remember when you were on the near side of the valley and they were on the farther side, and the caravan was lower in position than you. If you had made an appointment to meet, you would have missed that appointment. And it was so that God might accomplish a matter already destined, that those who perished through disbelief will perish upon evidence, and those who lived in faith would live upon evidence. And indeed, Allah is hearing and knowing. Remember when God showed them to you in your dream? And if He had shown them to you as many, you believers would have lost courage and would have disputed in the matter. But God saved you from that. Indeed, He is knowing of that within your heart. And remember when He showed them to you, when you met a few in your heart, in your eyes, and He made you appear as few in their eyes, so that God might accomplish a matter already destined. And to God are all matters returned. And you who have believed, when you meet a company from the enemy forces in the battlefield, of course, in war, stand firm and remember God much, that you may be successful. And obey God and His messenger, and do not do not dispute, and thus lose courage, and then your strength will fall apart. And be very patient. Indeed, God is with those who are patient. And do not be like those who came forth from their homes, being insolent and arrogant, and to be seen only by people, and to avert them from the way of God. And God is encompassing of what they do. And remember when Shaitan, the devil, made their deeds pleasing to them and said, "No one can overcome you today from among the people, and indeed I am your protector." But when the two armies sided each other and saw each other, he turned on his heels. Satan always betray him. And he said, "Indeed, I am not with you. I'm far removed from you. Indeed, I see what you do not see. Indeed, I fear God, Allah, and God is very severe in punishment." Remember when the hypocrites and those in whose hearts was disease of arrogance and disbelief in God, they said, "Their religion has deluded those people, those Muslims. But whoever relies upon God, then indeed God is exalted in might and wise." Allah is wise and mighty. And if you could but see when the angels take the soul of those who don't believe in God, they are striking their faces and their backs and saying, "Taste the punishment of God, the punishment of the burning fire. This is for what your hands have put forth of evil." And because God is not ever unjust to his servants, slaves. Theirs is like the custom of the people of Pharaoh, the evil, wicked Pharaoh of Egypt, and then of those who were before him. They disbelieved in the signs of God, Allah. So God, of course, sees them because of their sins. Indeed, God is powerful and very severe in his punishment. That is because God would not change a favor which he had bestowed upon a people until they change what is within themselves. So remember that indeed Allah is hearing and knowing. Theirs is like the custom of Pharaoh and those before them. They denied the sign of their Lord. So we destroyed them for their sins, their bad deeds, and we drowned the people of Pharaoh, and all of them were wrongdoers. Indeed, the worst of living creatures in the sight of God Allah are those who disbelieved in God Allah, and they will never believe. The one with whom you made a treaty, but after that, they break their pledge every time, and they do not fear God. So if you gain dominance over them in war, in the battlefield, just disperse by means of them those behind them, that maybe they may be reminded. And if you have reason to fear from a people that will betray you, then throw their treaty back to them, putting you on equal terms. Indeed, God does not like the traitors. And let not those who disbelieve think that they will escape God. Never. Indeed, they will not cause any failure to God. And prepare against them whatever you are able of power and of steeds of war in the battlefield during war, by which you may terrify the enemy of God and your enemy and others besides them whom you do not know, but whom God Allah knows. And whatever you spend in the cause and the way of God will be fully repaid to you, and you will not be wronged by God. And if they incline to peace, then you too incline to peace, and rely and always depend on God Allah. Indeed, He is the one who is hearing and the knowing. But if they intend to deceive you, then sufficient for you is God Allah, and He is He who supported you with His help and with the believers, and brought together their hearts. If you had spent all that is in earth, You could not have brought their hearts together, but Allah brought them together. Indeed, He is exalted in might and wise. O Prophet, sufficient for you is God Allah, your Lord, and for whoever follows you of the believers. O Prophet, sufficient for you is Allah, and for whoever follows you of the believers. O Prophet, urge the believers to battle and to fight the disbelievers who are attacking them. If there are among you 20 who are steadfast, they will overcome 200. And if there were among you 100 who are steadfast, they will overcome 1,000 of those who have disbelieved in God, because they are people who do not understand. Now God has lightened the hardship for you, and He knows that among you there is weakness. So if there are from you 100 who are steadfast during the battlefield in war, they will overcome 200. And if there are among you 1,000, they will overcome 2,000 only by the permission of God Allah. And Allah is with those who are steadfast. It is not for a prophet to have captives of war until he inflicts a massacre upon God's enemy in the land. You desire the commodity of this world. Allah desires you the commodities of the hereafter, and Allah is exalted in might and wise. If not for a decree, a plan, wisdom, destiny from your Lord Allah that preceded, you would have been touched for what you took by a great punishment. So consume what you have taken of war booty, the spoils of war, as being lawful and good. And of course, fear God and keep the commandments of God. Keep your duty to your Lord. Indeed, God is forgiving and merciful. O Prophet, say to whoever is in your hands of the captives, if Allah knows any good in your heart, He will give you something better than what was taken from you, and He will forgive you. And Allah is forgiving and merciful. But if they intend to betray you, then they have already betrayed God before, and He empowered you over them. And Allah, God, is knowing and wise. Indeed, those who have believed and emigrated and fought with their wealth and lives in the cause of God, in the way of God, and those who gave shelter and who helped, these are the allies of one another. But those who believed and did not emigrate, for you there is no support of them until they emigrate. And if they seek help of you for the religion, then you must help them. Indeed, except against a people between yourselves and whom is a treaty. And God is seeing of everything that you do. And those who disbelieved are allies of one another. They are friends. If you do not do so, meaning if you do not ally yourself with other believers, there will be a lot of oppression and a lot of injustice through the land. On earth, great corruption. But those who have believed and emigrated and fought in the cause of God, and those who gave shelter and helped, it is they who are true believers. For them is definitely forgiveness and a noble provision in the hereafter. And those who believed after the initial immigration, and they emigrated and they fought in the battlefield with you, they are of you, they belong with you. But those of blood relation are more entitled to inheritance in the decree of God. And indeed, God is knowing of all things. That was chapter 8, Spoils of War, Surah An-Anfal. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. Thank you so much for your support to my channel, and I will see you next time for chapter 9 of this Quran, translation of the meaning of the Quran in the English translation. Thank you so much, and remember, stay strong, stay brave, and keep moving forward. I'm your big sister Nia.